What's up, everyone? I'm Coach D, and first of all, I want to thank you guys for subscribing to my channel. We're over 105,000 subscribers, and I am absolutely overwhelmed with gratitude. So, I've talked a lot on this channel about what has gotten me to where I am today. Honestly, if it weren't for a strong mother, great teachers and coaches, and outreach efforts in marginalized communities, there is absolutely no way I am where I am today. So when I came across this article about a group called Equity Arc that decided to do outreach in minority communities to bridge a gap they found between minorities and people in the American Orchestra, I thought, what a great idea. Then as I read further and found out why a program was canceled, it really pissed me off. The American Orchestra is made up of 80% white people, 11% Asian people, 5% Hispanic people, and 2% black people. Because of this data, the group Equity Arc decided, how can we get more minority kids exposed to the orchestra? Now, I want to stop here and ask people who voted for Donald Trump if they think there is anything wrong with a group noticing that minorities don't seem to take up orchestra and deciding to find ways to reach them so that they could become more interested in the orchestra. Because it seems to me that we cannot address inequities in our society if we don't acknowledge the inequities exist. But let's go on. So this group was contacted by the U.S. Marines, and as you'll see, the director of the group was absolutely ecstatic about it. Due to copyright violations, I can tell you that this was a conversation about the Marines calling the director of Equity Arc and how excited he was about the Marines wanting to play with his students. So he had an audition where there were over 100 students auditioned. They sent in videos of themselves playing, and they chose 30 students to play with the Marines. And this made him very happy because this was something that was unprecedented for a group of minority kids that he felt like needed this outreach and attention. Unfortunately, this was canceled due to the diversity, equity, and inclusion executive order that was signed by Donald Trump. Here they are showing what the practices would look like and how they would be interacting with each other and how they practice a lot to be on this orchestra and get the opportunity to play with the Marines. Again, unfortunately, this did not happen because of the executive order. So, unfortunately, these kids never had the opportunity. This is Donald Trump saying that diversity, equity, and inclusion is a form of tyranny, which is absolutely crazy. He also pointed out that this country would no longer be woke, which again is absolutely absurd. And what was pointed out next is that this was a very overreaching executive order that ruined more things rather than addressing some of the issues with diversity, equity, and inclusion. You know, I'd really like someone to make this make sense. The people who decided to vote because they wanted to get rid of woke and diversity, equity, and inclusion, is this what you wanted? Is this really what you voted for? Because I'm telling you, as a black man who took advantage of social programs that lifted my family up to a point where my brother and sister and myself are proof that these programs are nothing but an investment into the community and into the country. I mean, seriously, all these kids were going to get out of this was a night to showcase their talents alongside a military orchestra. This wasn't even some handout or effort to discriminate against white people. This was a way to pull a group of people into an art that they hadn't been exposed to. These kids practiced their asses off to make and submit an audition tape. Then they got the call that told them that they made the cut. Then they practiced their asses off for their showcase and then were told it was canceled because of what the president calls the tyranny of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Seriously, send this to your Trump supporting friends and ask them if this is the diversity, equity, and inclusion they hate so much. You now have 30 plus minority kids who were just going to be allowed to play alongside the Marine Corps Orchestra who now think that the color of their skin is some type of curse or conduit of divisiveness. This absolutely disgusts me, and it is why I just can't even associate with people who say dumb shit about diversity, equity, and inclusion. We could have easily addressed any issues with DEI without all of these absurd overreaches. It's disgusting to think that because of the hate in the Trump administration, there will be minority kids left behind in education. Because of the hate of Donald Trump, Elon Musk, his cabinet, and people who voted for him, we have erased protections against discriminations that our ancestors died for. I will never forgive people for this. Period. Hey, if you like my content, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, check out the merch at leftlaughs.com. As always, I appreciate you guys supporting my channel.
Don't want no enemies or ops. Envy in their heart, I tell them stop. Vacation on the yacht.